So obviously the new M4 iPad Pro is technically the best and the most powerful iPad ever, but for most people, it's probably not the best value and you should go with the M1. Now, I don't think that I've ever started a video talking about processing power, but I want to get it out of the way here because yes, of course the M4 and the new iPad Pro is more powerful than the M1 or the M2 models. And that's true for single core performance, multi-core performance, and for GPU performance. But the truth is that this only matters to very specific users who are pushing their iPads to the absolute limits with things like editing video with super challenging footage, 3D work, and then other workflows that require everything that the CPU and GPU have to offer. So if having the absolute best CPU and GPU performance saves you time or removes friction from your workflow, then it's a no-brainer. Get the M4 iPad Pro. But for most users and even most gamers, which we'll talk about later on, the M2 is already more than what they need, and so is the M1. Now, when it comes to size, we're getting a very slightly larger iPad with the M4 model. We're talking about hundredths of an inch here in terms of height and width. Where you might notice a difference is with depth, where we're going from 0.25 to 0.2 inches. It's still a few hundredths of an inch, but since I'm used to handling the other two models, I noticed that the newer one is thinner. We're also looking at about 1/4 pound less in terms of weight, which again is noticeable, but these are not reasons why I would pay more for the newer model. So now let's talk about the display where there is a more meaningful difference. And first, let's talk about wants versus needs, because there's nothing wrong with wanting a better device, even if you don't actually need it. Like maybe you've been saving money for years and you just want the absolute best thing that's out there. And it's going to bring you joy every time you use it, which hopefully is thousands of times over many years. But if we're bringing budget and value into the decision and we're being intellectually honest, then I think we could be a little bit more nuanced in the value that we assign to each feature. So back to the displays, the M4 iPad Pro comes with the new OLED display versus mini LEDs on the M1 and M2 models. The OLED display is super impressive, and Apple is actually using 2 stacked OLED layers, which they call tandem OLED, and this way you can get a brighter display with all the benefits of OLED. So things like per pixel control versus dimming zones, darker blacks, and an excellent contrast ratio. Now the M4 display is also ever so slightly bigger, but if I just showed you one of them, you're very unlikely to know which one it is without any context. The thing is that the liquid Retina XDR display on the M1 and M2 models was already really good, so it's not like you're getting 15-year-old tech that's going to look terrible. All 3 displays have Apple's ProMotion, so up to 120 Hertz. The M4 iPad Pro has a slightly higher resolution, the same pixel density. It is brighter for SDR content, which is nice, but has the same brightness for HDR content. Now the M4 iPad Pro also has Apple Pencil Hover, which the M2 iPad Pro has, but not the M1. So ultimately, if you just want the best display, or if your workflow would benefit from the new nano texture option, which is really cool, those would be reasons to get the new model. But for everyone else, the M1 and M2 models literally give you the best display that Apple has had in any iPad until this year. Now, in terms of the design, there are no real major differences. We're getting the same button layout, Face ID for biometric authentication, a Thunderbolt 3/USB-C 4 port for accessories and charging, and 4 speakers. Now, the speakers are different on the new M4 model, which doesn't really impact how I use the iPad because I'm always using headphones, but it may matter to you. And the magnets on the back of the iPad also have a different orientation, which is why the M4 iPad Pro has dedicated accessories and you can't use the ones from the M1 and M2 iPad Pro. And this goes for both the keyboard and the stylus. The new magnet layout means that the M4 iPad Pro literally won't attach properly to the previous Magic keyboards and vice versa. So if you have a Magic keyboard and you're thinking of upgrading to the M4 Pro, just know that you're also going to have to upgrade your Magic keyboard. Now the new Magic keyboard is nicer, it's thinner, it has a row of function keys, better keys all around, and a better trackpad, but the previous model was already very good, so again, this isn't really a deciding factor for me. Now moving on to the Apple Pencil, again, you have to get the new Apple Pencil Pro with the M4 iPad Pro, and there's no compatibility with a second generation Apple Pencil. And you can actually see that the magnets on the top of the iPads are not in the same spot, so the wrong Apple Pencil won't attach or pair with the wrong iPad. Now, if you really need or want the new functionality of the Apple Pencil Pro, things like barrel roll, which is useful with rotating shaped pen and brush tools, a squeeze function, which can be used to open a palette for switching tools, line weights, and colors, and haptic feedback, then you have to get the M4 iPad Pro. Now, the Apple Pencil Pro is also compatible with Find My, which I'm not gonna lie, I really like because it helps me find it whenever I leave it in another room. And speaking of things that I can finally locate with Find My, I just got the new Geo wallet from ESR, and they say that it's the world's first wallet with built-in Find My. So it looks just like a regular wallet. It has plenty of space for cards, for 2 IDs, cash, everything that you typically carry. I still have stamps in my wallet for some reason, I'm not sure why. But it also has an Apple certified Find My module, so I can track its location in real time with the Find My app. And that's whether it's connected to the phone or not. And it even has a built-in speaker, so I can more easily find it. It's made from really nice faux leather, and it's super eco-friendly. It comes in 7 colors, and it's thin, so I'm not really adding any unneeded bulk. It also only takes 2 hours to charge, and that will last you 5 months. Now, the Kickstarter has just launched, so the earlier you pledge, the better the discount, and worldwide shipping will begin in early September. So check out the link in the description to get your Geo wallet with Find My, and thank you to ESR for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now, in terms of multitasking, you're getting all the same features with all 3 iPads, and the same is true for Stage Manager. You can also use all 3 iPads for universal control or for sidecar, which you definitely should be doing, and I have tutorials for both on the channel. Now, of course, you can use all the same app, and the one advantage you get with each new version is additional years of support. Now, the front-facing camera on all 3 iPads is 12 megapixel, but it's been moved on the M4 iPad Pro, so now it's on the long edge, and you're always properly framed when you're on a video call, and here's a side. Now, battery life was about the same when I compare my notes from when each device was new. So let's talk about gaming. And here's the thing. These are the 3 most powerful tablets on the market when it comes to CPU and GPU performance. So they can all run games without a problem. Now, obviously there's an element of future-proofing here. And if you're actually thinking of playing console level games on your iPad, then the more powerful chip is the way to go. Now, I've had all 3 since the day they were released, and I can tell you that I still primarily use the M1 model when I play PUBG. I was playing it at 90 FPS with no issues, and now that it's available at 120 FPS, I use that, and again, I've had no reason to switch to one of the newer iPads. Now, when it comes to streaming games with the Xbox Game Pass app, then of course we're basing dollars, so still $485 cheaper. And you can get 256 gigabytes models of each for $720 and $881 respectively, compared with the $1,299 for the M4. So here's how I look at it. If you can get the M1 iPad Pro for $625, just jump on it. It's incredibly powerful and an amazing value. If not, the M2 iPad Pro is kind of the best value. You're getting an even more capable chip. You still have compatibility with previous models of the accessories, an excellent display,